Everyone, welcome to Sweetcast. I've got a few thoughts I want to go over. And basically, what I'm witnessing now is the comic book industry. Many people that have said everything's fine, the dog holding the cup of coffee in the burning building, everything's fine. They're starting to realize that everything is not fine and that things have changed. And the comic book industry, as you have known it, is going to change. The reason it's so difficult to get honest responses from people is because I don't think that most people are intentionally trying to be misleading. I'll be generous there. I think it's because they really, really want it to work. Selling comics in comic book shops is cool. Having your book finally in the shop, working, having this method that has worked for so many years is a comforting thing. So I think a lot of people want it to work. But the problem has been that historically, if you come out and you say that there's something wrong in the industry, this doesn't look good, they would say you're a bigot because you're basically tarnishing their dreams and their security. So now, at some point, after they've gone through the stages of grief, many are looking at the industry and saying, you know what? Something is not right here. The things are changing. So it's kind of interesting to see as that goes on. So before we get into this, Fatal is on Indiegogo. Check it out. The link is in the description below this video. And this artwork is just amazing. It's fantastic. I how many adjectives do I have to use? But I really do think you should check it out. And while you're at it, back it because we're, halfway through the campaign ish. We've got 810 backers, which is fantastic. Help us get to 1,000 backers, and all your wildest dreams will come true. All right, so this first one is from Mags Visagio. Comics people, regarding the direct market, especially in light of the moves DC and Warner Media has been making since March, who will survive and what will be left of them? If if Mags had said this 6 months ago, a year ago, everyone would have been saying, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa! You're alarmist. What is going on here?" Now, everyone knows that this is at least a serious consideration, except for Heather Antos. We'll get there. So, a guy on Twitter says, "I think comic shops are going to have a heck of a fight on their hands. The bigger ones will hold out the longest, but the mom and pop ones will be the first victims." Of course, we're already seeing these shops go out of business. What he's stating here is something that we're currently seeing. We've been seeing now for a couple years. Heather Antos responds, "I don't necessarily agree. There are plenty of mom and pop shops that are an active community business who have diversified to include content and programs that don't rely solely on the direct market. At the end of the day, just like any business, you can't rely on one customer or one source. You have to have several outlets." Here's the question though. If you're not relying on selling comics and you're diversifying, what is stopping you in the current industry from just saying, yeah, we exist, but we don't sell comics anymore. There's a comic book shop here. A while ago, I told you I was taking my brother comic shopping, trying to get him into comics. And we went to this one comic shop that used to have comics in their name. I forget the name of the business, but something games and comics. We went there to get comics and they had no comics. They only had games. Why? Because by diversifying like that, they realize that comics don't make them money and it's such a huge risk. So why would they do that when they could just sell Pokemon cards and Magic cards that make them consistent profit and bring customers into the stores? If you're going to have a brick and mortar store, you need customers to come. So diversifying, even though that sounds nice and it's nice to be diversified, then the truth comes in, and that is that selling comic books becomes more of a passion and less of a wise business decision. That's the problem that the market is faced with right now. That's a big issue. And so part of this, I really think, is wishful thinking, hoping that your job, because your job depends upon these basic systems to work and continue, and so you're going to justify it in any way that you can. And the craziest thing is, I'm on here on my alternate account so that I can see what's going on, because everyone here has me blocked on my Sweetcast account. It's just, do you not see how crazy this is? It is crazy. All right, here's another one. Honestly, I can't even begin to speculate what will happen, but whatever it does, I hope it's an improvement that gets more comics in more stores to more types of readers. Direct market and Diamond have been kneecapped, the American medium for years. Been kneecapped by them, maybe? Okay, so here's the thing: is people are also looking at what is the next step, and Keanu Reeves, which apparently it's his birthday today, he's getting all the attention because of the Kickstarter campaign that he's doing with Boom Studios. Boom Studios knows that everyone's going to say and complain that you are not helping out local comic shops. That's the problem. You're not helping out retailers. And so that's why they're crowdfunding the trades, apparently, and then they're releasing single issues through comic book shops. A little backward. I mean, it's the normal way, but they're selling this. They're selling backward, if that makes sense. They're having you pay for it backward, which is, it's a little different, a little surprising. I don't have a problem with that. It's just there's this need to prop up the direct market, that you have to continue making it work the way that it's worked. And I don't know. I don't necessarily think that's the best idea. We're holding on to things because we want them to be true and right. That's not necessarily the best way. All right. So let's look at some of these other comments here. We'll see a lot of comic shops that started in the 80s close and the owners retire. Yeah, that makes sense. I hope all of them. DC is better franchise than Marvel. There's a shot across the bow. DC, Marvel, Image, Dark Horse, Boom. The others will switch to bookstores / online only. The remaining direct market folks will also add more bookstores, an online presence, and produce a product for it too. Marvel will have a big reshuffle early next year, starting now. Yeah, there's going to be a change here. And honestly, the more that the more that I think about this, the better it would actually be to get new readers into comics. There is a barrier to entry. I know, like, if you've been going to comic book shops and you've been getting comics for years, you understand how it works, how the system works. And so it doesn't seem like a big barrier to entry, but try to get somebody new into comics by themselves. Somebody that has some kind of interest. If they've watched a movie, they've, whatever, they have some kind of interest in comics. They don't know where to start. And the retail system as it works right now, it doesn't lend itself to pulling in new readers because you physically have to go to a new location. If you get there, it's great because then you can talk to somebody that is knowledgeable about comics and they can help you get oriented and all that. That is great. That's a good way to go. But it's getting people into the stores where most books are just sold online. I don't make the rules. I'm not saying that they should just be sold online or that this is, this is evolution at its finest or something. It's just that's the reality of the way it is. That's how it is right now. And it's moving more and more toward it. I don't think that digital is going to be the change. I think it's just going to be buying books online because people still like books. They still want books. But when Amazon is selling them and the barrier to entry is just so low, you can go look it up. You can look up reviews and get the book shipped to you in a reasonable amount of time. Why on earth would a new reader go to a comic book shop? Why on earth would comic book shops be able to compete with that? Because they have so much overhead. This has been a problem that has been growing, whether anyone has been wanting to admit it or not. It's just that now mainstream comic pros, people working in the industry, are finally starting to see the writing on the wall, and they're finally starting to address it. Does this make you a bigot for saying what many of us have been saying for for me personally 2 years now? No, it has nothing to do with politics. This is the reality of the situation. Yeah, so there we go. That's it. Appreciate you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure you're still subscribed. I've had a few people tell me that they were unsubscribed from my channel recently, and that's annoying. And then check out Fatal. It's on Indiegogo right now. And this will help not only fund this comic, but this is going to help sort of demonstrate that we can keep making books, especially for Charlie. I want him to just be making comic books because his art is so great. So I'd love to do is I want to do anything I can to get this campaign as high as I can get it, just to show that people want Charlie's artwork and to help him to be, here to stay. So appreciate you all, and I will see you next time.